Hello, welcome to the book club meeting. Neville Goddard's lesson 3. Lesson 3, thinking fourth dimensionally. That's number 3. Just waiting for more people to come into the chat, into the live. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. To those of you who want a better understanding of manifestation and how the Bible is a psychological book. The Bible is all about the mind. It's talking about your lower mind and the awakened mind. The lower mind is the mind of sense. The part of you that only wants to believe what it can see physically. Anything that it can experience with the 5 senses, that's the limitation of our human experience. We only want to believe what we can perceive with our 5 senses. And the Bible is telling you that you actually create with your 6th sense, which is your mind. Hello, Real Estate Nick. How are you? Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone? So, did you guys read the book? Those of you who have joined us, I'm doing well as well. Thank you. Oh, great. Yes, I'm doing amazing. You and this twin be tripping me out. What is it? So that's the new slang now. Everybody is twin. That's so new school. That's so new school. Oh, I'm doing amazing. How are you doing, A-Town? How are you? Oh, okay. You're gonna download it from the group. You just here to listen, Real Estate Nick. You just here to listen. You're not here to participate. But I'm sure you'll have something to share with us once we get into the lesson. So come on, y'all, put in y'all requests to come join the panel. Because this is an open discussion night. That is what the the book club meeting is for. It is an open discussion. Well, it's always an open discussion, but mainly I'm the one talking. But this time we get to hear other voices. You coming up, Real Estate Nick? You coming up, Real Estate? Okay, cool. I'll bring you up. You be learning from me. Oh, I brought you up, Real Estate Nick. Did you see it? Did you accept it? Are you able to come on? You say you don't have a join tag? Well, no, you sent it. You're just pausing on my end. I'm gonna disconnect you. So put in your request again, then let me see. Okay, let me invite. Okay, I sent it let me send the invite, so we'll see how that works. But you do have to accept it. You have to accept the invite. Okay. I sent it. I did send it. Is buffering on your end, real estate Nick? Am I buffering? Okay, I'm good. Okay. Hey, Janine, are you coming up? Janine, are you coming up? Okay, let me bring you up and make sure. Okay. Yeah, you're buffering.
Hello, peace, love, and light reflections.
How are you? How are
I'm
you?
fine,
Peace,
thank
love.
you. I thought I was going to be late because I had to go visit my brother because he's in a nursing home. So I took him some McDonald's and buttered him up and said, I got to go.
Okay. let me use a little flattery here.
Yes. I gave him some McDonald's.
Yes. And Mickey D's.
So Mickey D's. So guess what? He was really excited. So I was like, see you later, bro.
Right. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Yes. Real estate Nick. Yes. Try to go out and come back in. Yeah. Try to go out and come back in. You're trying to get a few other people up here on a panel.
Oh, it's okay. I had to finish my notes at work.
Oh, okay. Let me see who's requesting. Okay. All right, real estate Nick. See if this works. There you go.
There I am. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
How? Okay, so I wanted to make sure that Toyia understood that I didn't read 3 through, I think it was 5. However, I will definitely input where I can, and as long as you don't mind me just listening up here, I'm grateful to do that.
Cool. Yes, we're taking each lesson. You know, we're taking like 2 to 3 weeks for each lesson. So we're on lesson 3 now. I know A-Town said he wanted to finish lesson 2. I didn't have anything else to say about lesson 2. So, you know, Janine, if you had anything that you wanted to, you know, input. Hey, Baylani. Hey, D Rich.
Let me see. Let me go back to my notes. Nope, I didn't even know. Nope, I had nothing.
Okay. Hey, Exformations. I know he's trying to figure out how to come back up on a panel. I don't know what happened. He's not able to come back up. I don't know what happened. We'll see. See if I can come back up here. So we're doing Neville Goddard's 5 lessons. It was actually, they compiled it in a book. It was actually a lecture, a series of lectures that he gave for a week. and each day he goes over several scriptures that show you that the Bible is psychological truth, and that you can use the Bible as a tool to show you how to manifest your desires. Yep. How are you, Affirmations? So did you want to start, Janine?
Yes. Where I wanted to start is we always talk about the third dimension, 3D, which is what we're living in now. And we never really talk about the fourth dimension. And so for me, I had to get a definition of really the fourth dimension. And what I came up with was the realm of pure imagination and non-physical space where all possibilities exist and where individuals can actively create their reality through thoughts and feelings. It is essentially the level of consciousness where one can directly influence their manifested experiences in the physical world by influencing their inner perceptions.
Oh, I love that definition. You're going to have to read that again. we need to hear that again.
What was that from?
Okay, one more time.
I know, right? That was amazing.
What was that from,
I'm going
Janine?
there with you too.
Okay, so it is the realm of pure imagination and non-physical space where all possibilities exist and where individuals can actively create their reality through thoughts. And it says through thoughts. It is essentially the level of consciousness where one can directly influence their manifested experience in the physical world by influencing their inner perceptions.
Wow. And what's that definition? What's the word though?
Fourth dimension. That's what fourth dimension means.
Oh,
because
wow.
we always hear about 3D, we always hear about 5D, but we never hear about the 4D. And so that's where I had to come in. I said, well, wait a minute, and I never think about the 4D at all. So I wanted to start off with a definition of the fourth dimension because I know that's part of the title that we have for the third lesson, which is thinking fourth dimensionally.
That. Oh yes, that sums it up. That's it, though. That was amazing definition.
Thank you. So that's my start. So I'll start there.
That's beautiful. The fourth dimension. Yep, you can affect your reality through thought. It's just reminding us that the world is mental, right?
Yep.
The world is mental. So, and the thought is the creator, right? I always say, as Neville Goddard states, the creative power in man is the mind.
Yes. And so, right, exactly. And I think when we're dealing with the 3, 4, and 5, it's a concept of ideas factoring in the existence of things in different time periods. So I'm assuming 3D, 4D, 5D.
Yeah. People describe it differently because Neville really didn't say fifth dimension. He said third and fourth dimension, right? He would call it he'll just only, and then you hear other people saying, oh, it's because some people describe the fourth dimension as being time, right? So third dimension being space, fourth dimension being time, and then fifth dimension being what you just described. It just depends on however you want to define it. But we all saying the same thing, right?
Yes.
Sometimes we be confusing ourselves by trying to overthink things.
Right.
Yeah.
And so go ahead.
No, I was done. Go ahead.
Okay. So in 2, and we ain't got to be here all day. I did have some things, but if everybody done with it, I look.
No, I want to hear you. I didn't know, go ahead. We're going to give you space because that's what we said. So I know you took notes and we didn't finish up everything. So I want you to, go ahead.
For sure. Okay.
Do your thing.
So I definitely, that actually preludes to where it was going into. I think because we went over Barabbas, we went over Isaac, but where it was stating where Joshua is haunted by the promise that wherever he can place his foot, Wherever the sole of his foot shall tread, that will be given unto him. He wants the most desirable state in the world, the fragrant city, the delightful state called Jericho. And then it says, he finds himself bared by the impossible walls of Jericho. He is on the outside as you are now on the outside. You are functioning three-dimensionally, and you cannot seem to reach the fourth dimension world where your present desire is already a concrete, objective reality. You cannot seem to reach it because your senses bar you from it. Reason tells you it is impossible. All things round about you tell you it is not true. So I think, Janine definitely kind of, summed up that portion in terms of, having the inward state or the inward perception. Yeah.
You said, yeah. Okay.
Neville he also talked about the fourth dimension as the awakened intellect of man.
Mhm.
Yep,
the awakened mind. That's who Christ Jesus Christ.
Yep,
Christ.
he did. Yep, he said Jesus was renamed. Yep, as in the fourth dimension. Yep, I did see that, Toyia.
Yep. Hello. Okay, Roy, I'll bring you up. Hey, 0120. Welcome. Yes, you made it. All right, bringing you up, Royal.
Great evening, everybody.
How you doing?
Hello.
Royale, what's up?
How y'all doing? I know I missed a couple. Are y'all on 2 or 3?
We're finishing up 2,
Awesome.
and then we're going into 3.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah. So if you had anything you wanted to add to lesson 2, I know A-Town was talking about Joshua, which was the last story given in that section in lesson 2, regarding wherever your feet tread upon, right, which is your understanding. That's what the foot represents, to stand upon the desired state, right? So whatever you can go mentally and fix that state within you will become an outward expression.
Right. He just said, I guess they say it so many times because it says the man who can fix within his own mind's eye an idea, even though the world would deny it, if he remains faithful to that idea, he will see it manifested. So I guess they just keep on repeating the same thing, and it's just like different ways of matriculating your mind to be like, look, you got this.
And I think that's what he's saying the Bible is doing, right? Like the Bible's just giving us a bunch of stories that are all saying the same thing.
Exactly, because how does the subconscious mind learn?
Repetition.
There you go.
Yep.
So it's the same story over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, that was a good point though. That's what I was thinking when I was reading lesson 3. I was like, man, he's saying the same thing, just more creative, just like as long as you believe it.
Well, that's how it's a universal truth, because we don't know who the writers of scripture were, right? They compiled 66 books, but as we know, it was even more books than that. They just decided on the 66, right? They just decided on that. But we know that all the quote unquote sacred texts, all of the mystical teachers, they're all saying the same thing, that the world is mine and you create through thought. And it's your fixation on a thing that brings it into your experience, whether it be good, bad, ugly, your greatest fantasy, whatever it is. If you fixate on it, it will come into your experience.
Yeah, that's what I was telling my wife. I was like, this power is like, you ever seen that movie The Mask with Jim Carrey back in the day? Yeah, probably.
I've heard of it. I'm not a Jim Carrey fan, but no, so I know.
What? No, okay. But anyway, so there was this mask, and when Jim Carrey put it on, he had like good superpowers, But then there was an evil guy. When he put the mask on, he had that same power, just in an evil way. It's kind of like that, Like you said, we could use it for whatever. long as you believe hard enough, it'll come.
That's it. That's it.
Mhm.
And just like how, all the time we thought scripture was about a God apart, and it comes to realize that it's just the personification of the mind. That's all God represents, the personification of the individual's mind. Although there's one mind, we all get to use this one mind however we choose, right?
Mhm.
And of course, the question was raised earlier today: who's actually the thinker? Who's actually thinking these thoughts? Who's actually the observer of all of this? So that's I believe that when you're asleep, you're at the behest of the race consciousness, and when you awaken, then that's when you get to choose. That's just my personal belief.
You mean when you literally sleep, or like?
I'm spiritual sleep.
Okay.
Okay.
Y'all want to do 3?
Yeah, I mean, if we're done with lesson 2.
I mean, my favorite one in lesson 2 was the beginning part, like the Barabbas story.
Oh, okay.
I really
Okay.
like that.
Yeah.
That just made so much sense. It just gave me a whole different way to look at that situation versus looking at, like, why does the crowd want this murderer? But I like the way he
Why did the
flipped
crowd
it.
want the murderer? So what was your?
I mean, but the way he flipped it, it's not even that. It's our other side, our other side, like
Right, the robber represented. What is a robber? What does a robber do? What's the
robbing our
job of a
Take,
power.
robber?
steal.
Take.
Yeah.
Take, steal.
Exactly. So as long as you continue to talk about the old story, what are you doing?
Robbing it.
Robbing yourself of the new,
Ooh,
of
robbing
that which
yourself
you
of the new.
desire to be. You're both Jesus and Barabbas. You gotta let Barabbas go. You gotta let the robber go. You gotta let go of that old story so it can stop robbing you of your experience of the thing you want to experience. Yep,
Yes, the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy.
that's it. So every time you talk about what you don't want, what are you doing?
That's
Stealing
what-
your dream. Stealing your dream. Destroying your dream.
Yes, in my notes, from what I listened to, it says you become what you mentally feed upon. You need to be consistent and change your mental food, which you was talking about Philippians 4:8. Thinking on the good things, whatever is good, whatever is pure, those things. That's what you want to focus on. So, what are you mentally feeding yourself upon? Because that's what you want to become your reality. You don't want to think about the old. You want to think about the thief, because the thief is going to steal you of all of what you are wanting or what you have.
Yep. That's it.
And also too, Proverbs 23:7. For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he.
Yep.
So I always try to stay positive and stay focused. That's why, and at work, and it's not me being mean, but it's just me focusing on what I want. So I tend to, I'm a natural introvert. So for me to be up here to even speak, that's just a lot for me because I love sticking to myself. That I've always been that way. But at work, I had to explain to my manager because it's just the two of us. And I always say we're on our island together, but I'm in a different space in my life right now. And so right now I'm focused on what I want. And it's not taking anything away from her, but I just don't want to deal with the negative. My other coworker always complaining. So that's just not my space anymore because now you're messing up what I'm trying to do. And I don't want to be gossiping and complaining anyway.
Can they mess up what you're trying to do?
I was like, I know. I don't.
I'm asking you a question. Can
Huh?
they mess up? Can they
No,
mess up what you're trying
They
to
cannot mess it up. I just don't want to hear it. So I put in my earbuds and I listen to music or I listen to something else, Neville, or just whatever. So I tune them out. And sometimes they may be thinking I'm mean, but I'm
Wait,
just
wait a minute. Who's thinking you're mean? Is it they're thinking you're mean, or you're thinking they're thinking you're
they're
mean?
thinking I'm mean. I know I'm not mean. They're thinking I'm mean.
No. Wait.
Huh?
Is it that they're thinking you're mean, or you're thinking that they're thinking you're mean?
No, well,
Who's
they
thinking
may say, Janine, why aren't you walking with us? How come you don't walk with us anymore?
But so how are you judging that? Who's drawing the conclusion?
Oh, you know, let me retract. Then I'm drawing that conclusion. Maybe they aren't, but maybe it's me. So
no, it's not maybe.
So
who having a thought? Who just said the thought? Who just said the thought?
I'm having a thought. So what do I do? What do I do?
The thought. Change the thought. That's what you do.
Change the thought. Okay. They are not thinking bad about me. They are thinking good things about me, and they know that I'm just focused on myself, and I'm on a mission.
Hey, it ain't even, when I go to work, it's all good.
Yep. Okay. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Because you're giving meaning to it. Give it a good meaning. Like you just said, Philippians 4:8.
Yeah.
Think on the lovely. So think they're thinking lovely.
You got it. I sure will. Oh my goodness. I didn't even think about it that way. Oh my goodness. Yes.
I know, it's so simple, right? It's so simple. And a man want to be like, it can't be that simple. It cannot be that simple.
That's what I say. I say it's simple, but it ain't easy.
Right.
Well.
I mean, it ain't easy when you've been asleep for so long. But who's saying
it ain't easy?
There you go. You got me.
Because Christ said, "My yoke is easy and my burden is light."
You're right.
Light and easy.
Okay, light and easy.
Right.
Remember, it's your thoughts. You are the creator.
Yeah.
Yep. Let me write that down.
Here's the thing. It's different. Just tell yourself it's different. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. Right?
Yep.
That's what you tell yourself.
Thoughts of me. All right, got that down. Okay, I'm ready, set to go on Monday. Because I work from home tomorrow, so I'm ready, set to go on Monday.
Oh, nice. All right.
Yeah.
Because the only reason they're going to think that you're being cold or distant is because you think you're being cold and distant.
Yes. And I never want to
stop thinking that you're being cold and distant, and they won't. You're judging your actions and saying that they're judging your actions. No, it's you.
Right, it's me. Because I always come in pleasant. I always say, good morning, hello, ladies. I always say bye, ladies. And, I'm always pleasant. Even though I go in my cube and I be a hermit. Yes.
We'll be on for, a little bit until we tire. I try not to make these lives too long. At least I try to 2 hours unless I got something to do. So I did put a space for 2 hours. So that's another hour and a half unless we finish up sooner than that. Did anyone have anything want to get into the lesson? Thanks, Janine, for that awesome definition.
Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome.
So did y'all want to dive into the lesson?
Yeah, we can.
Go ahead.
Can someone give me a really good explanation of the carnal mind and the mind of Christ?
You said a really good explanation?
Yeah. I want to, I want to get, a little bit more information on that.
Okay, so you didn't like Neville Goddard's explanation?
I did, but let me see.
Because they say to the mind, the Christ mind, the spiritual mind, which in our language we will call the fourth dimensional. So the Christ mind is the fourth dimensional. And you just gave us the definition of fourth dimensional.
That's it.
And then for the carnal mind, he said, reality is confined to the instant now. The very moment seems to contain the whole of reality. Everything else is unreal. Doesn't believe the past could be revised or that the future exists. So I look at our carnal mind, and he called it the natural mind, like our sleep mind, our autopilot mind, before. So that versus our spirit mind, which is our Christ mind.
Right. Yeah. So the carnal mind is the mind of sense. That's the carnal mind. Only the five senses represent your carnal mind. The natural man that's the limitation, only going by the five senses. Anytime you're only going to go by what you can see, what you can hear physically, right? It's the physical part of you. If you're only going to operate your life from that standpoint, you're operating in limitation, because you view the past as only a memory and the future as something that doesn't exist. But the spiritual mind sees all as one great whole. It sees the past, future, and present as one present reality. Hey, Denise. Hello. Thanks for stopping by.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Past, present, future.
Oh, okay.
That was in the first paragraph too.
D. Rich says carnal mind is one that is emotionally full charged, and the spirit mind is emotionally free.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yep. So that's why I tell you your feelings don't matter. Your emotions don't matter. It's your attention to a thing. That's the only thing that matters. That's your consciousness, is what you're giving your attention to. That's what you're conscious of. So whatever you're conscious of, that's what you're going to produce more of. Every seed grows after its own kind. So it's what you're giving your attention to. That's what's expanding. That's what you'll keep seeing in your reality. Now, Claire was asking about detachment. Can I explain why detachment attracts, but attention attracts too? It's the detachment from the old story, and it's the attention to the new story. It depends on how you're defining detachment, because you're supposed to be releasing, letting go, which is what detachment is, to release and let go the old story and give your attention to the new. But then once you have given your attention to the new and you see yourself as already being that and you're no longer desiring that, then some people describe that as detachment, but it's actually you've planted the seed and you're going to allow the seed do what it do. And some people describe that as detachment, but you're not really you're not detaching from your desire. You just know you already are it. And you're just going to not worry and stress and try to figure out how the desire will manifest. You're letting the seed, the desire, come into fruition on its own. We're not detaching from desire. We're saying that we already are that which we desire to be.
We're detaching.
We're letting go of wanting. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, it's just like an epiphany almost. But it was as you were talking, but you would be basically saying the same thing. We're detaching from the wanting, because wanting is not having or not being.
Yep, that's it. Yeah, detached from the emotions of the old story sets you free from the pattern.
And I think what Roy was talking about, where it was like, okay, it's easy, but it's easy, but it's hard, or something like that. But that's just the habit in everything that we're working out. I should say, working out that faith, or I don't know, what do you call it, T?
Well, yes, like Neville said, we think habit is law, but it's not. Habits
Right.
can be changed. Laws, the universal law cannot be changed. I am God, not changed. Not God doesn't change. Habits can be broken. Habits can be let go of. You can decide to think differently. See, the wanting is the jail cell that keeps you in an emotional loop that creates anxiety or avoidance. Love that. Love that. This is what Neville says before he delves into the scriptures. It says the only reason you and I are functioning as we are today and are not aware of the greater outlook is simply because we are creatures of habit, and habit renders us totally blind to what otherwise we should see. But habit is not law. It acts as though it were the most compelling force in the world, yet it is not law. It says if we can create a new approach to life, if you and I would spend a few minutes every day in withdrawing our attention from the region of sensation and concentrating it on an invisible state and remain faithful to this contemplation. Feeling and sensing the reality of an invisible state, we would in time become aware of the greater world, this dimensionally larger world. The state contemplated is now a concrete reality, displaced in time. And remember, when he talks about feeling, he's not talking about emotions. He's talking about mental pictures. Remember, I told you about the etymology of feeling? That's how Neville's using feeling. Mental pictures, mental image. Said changing habits changes lives. Yes.
This
You
book's so
change your habit by
fire.
giving your attention to another. What was you about to say, A-Time?
No, I was just saying, this book's so fire.
Yep. So, anyone,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I
step
put a
back and
note.
let y'all take the floor.
I put a note by the changing habits that like we must stay aware and vigilant, you know, because the habits are too easily, excuse me, they too easily creep back in. You know what I mean? You wake up, and that's why I think he said before you go to sleep and when you wake up, to kind of take a few minutes to just redirect what your vision or your desire is, so that way you walk in that throughout your day. Because too easily you wake up on autopilot and just fall right back into it. You know, you start grabbing the phone, emails, text messages, and just fall right back into it. So I just put a note there to like stay aware and vigilant.
Yes, waking up commanding your day.
Right.
That way, if you start positive, then you want to stay that way. So like you said, Royal, just waking up and, making sure you're staying positive, making sure you wake up right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, that's
I've been
true.
trying that the last couple weeks too, like before I go to bed in that sleep state. And then when I wake up, just take like 5-10 minutes and just kind of, okay, this is how today about to go. Just like you said, controlling the day, setting the tempo. And I'm telling you, man, those days are so much more different than when I just hop out.
That is so
I could just
true.
Me
see the
too.
change in the day.
Yes, that is so true.
Me too.
Right.
Hanging with T, like making sure you go to bed to like, I be smiling, go to bed now, just drifting off, and then I wake up and, I recognize like different people are getting at me. I'm solving more different problems. I'm just becoming, in that light that I see myself, of course. And yeah, it'd be like, man, I'll be moving like the Jetsons over here.
Yeah, I no longer dread going to work. I used to dread going to work. I would sit in my car for like an hour to just gather myself before I would walk in that building. Now I feel that time with thinking positive, talking to myself. I'm a great talker to myself. I love talking to myself. answering and everything. But before I used to dread walking in there. Now I don't dread, and I even find myself saying good morning to people I don't even know. Good morning, good morning.
Yes, as scripture says, greet every man with a holy kiss, right? Yes, a warmness, a generous thought, loving way. Yes.
Also, like I learned this is outside the book, but like scientifically, when we're sleeping, we get less oxygen that comes inside of us. So when people wake up, almost our natural state is to not be, when you get oxygen, you feel much better. When you got more, that's why people tell you to breathe and all that. So when you got less oxygen, people wake up angry, depressed. You don't wake up your best self immediately. So they were saying like when you wake up, throw a smile on, and that'll almost tell your cells like we're in a good mood today. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
As the rich reminds us, never go to bed upset. Sleep or prayer is the gateway to programming the subconscious. And prayer is meditation. Prayer is just another way of saying meditation. Yep. So did y'all have any highlights in the chapter, in chapter 3?
Yeah, all of it. But so the first story, we got Mark. That was good when he was talking about the insane man, or the naked man who lived in the cemetery, and he's pretty much attached to his old self. He's like, don't even take these demons away from me. That's I've been there. Attached to the old self. Like, look, I'm good right here. So I think that was a good story. And then once Jesus, released the demon or the devil, he was clothed and in the right mind. And I think that's what we all get into right now.
Yeah, I like the one with the woman with the issue of blood, healed, living now. Yep, I did like that because I believe if I could remember back going to church and she talked about if I can only touch the hem of his garment, is that the one? I would be healed.
Yeah.
I remember that being so I did that one, but healed and living now. But I think that she thought that touching the hem healed her. It was her faith that healed her, not touching the hem. Right? Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, that's what he said. Is your faith? Yeah,
Your faith.
He said, who has touched me? I feel virtue has gone out of me. Right? Because the touching was not done physically. The touching was done inwardly.
Right.
It's an inward thing. It's not anything we do outward. It's never anything we do outward. Even though Scripture may describe things as a physical act, Scripture is talking about mental activity always.
So in actual, she could have been healed. She didn't have to touch. If she believed that she was already healed, she didn't have to have that issue of blood the years that she had it. All she knew, everything that you have is within yourself. So she could have already been healed. She just didn't know it. She just didn't know. She thought touching the hem, but it was her faith that healed her. So she could have been healed a long time ago, as we speak in the Bible, Bible.
Yep. And he brings it all together, right? But go ahead, Royal.
No, I was just gonna say that's like all of us. Like, we could have been woke. Like, we could have woke up to this, but life was life, and so yeah.
Said life was life.
Yes, because I had never heard of this. This is all new to me.
But it makes the Bible make so much more sense. Like, now I enjoy reading the Bible. Like, it's not some crazy, stories anymore.
Same here.
Yeah, you're not looking at history like what's going on. Like, now
Right.
it's talking to you.
It'd be making so much more sense, actually. I'll be honest, where you can really apply it to yourself and make it more practical. And knowing that nothing's outside of you, you can rest assured, like, your fourth dimension, your subconscious will get it eventually. Or, yeah, it'll, I guess you'll catch on.
Yep. Yeah, and he showed those three stories, right? The man in the tomb, the woman with the issue of blood, and the child that was said to have that have been dying, right?
Yes.
That's a string. He stringed those together, so that was a stream of consciousness. First, you have to let go of the past. Then you have to close up the wound, right? So that you can have to recognize that you can have your desire. And now, because the desire, which represents the child that was asleep, that lay dormant in you, that has to be now that can be awakened, now that can be resurrected, right? So it's taking you through. It seemed like they were separate, but they were all connected, and he connects them for us in the story. And it's like, wow, okay, so first you have to let go of your superstition, your prejudices, right? You have to allow the awakened mind to do the thing it's going to do, to what? To remind you of who you are. That was the man that was in the tombs, in the cemetery, right? You were dead, now you are awake. Now you were asleep, now you were blind, now you see, kind of thing. And then you go where you thought that, you had this issue in your life that you thought that couldn't be anymore. And first you have to what? Stop allowing your mind to run, right? The issue of blood, it was the running mind. That mind needed to be stilled. And then the child represents the desire. You thought that it was impossible for you to have this thing. And then the awakened mind tells you, oh yeah, you're not dead. That desire is just sleeping. And what he does, Jesus went into with the parents and the disciples, right? Parents representing the I am consciousness. The disciples representing your disciplined mind. And you're going within, and now you're going to resurrect this desire, this child that you thought was dead, this desire you thought was impossible to realize, now comes to life. Because while you're clothed in your right mind, and now that seed, that the issue of blood is no longer running, now you have fertile ground in which to drop the seed, the desire. And then you allow it to be resurrected or manifested through what? A disciplined mind. Someone is going to remain faithful to the end.
Yes.
All right. Yes.
We said, as your mind is cleansed of your former concept of self, you assume you are what you want to be, and remaining faithful to this assumption, you give form to your assumption or resurrect your child. You are the woman cleansed of the issue of blood, and you move towards the house of the dead child. The child or state you desired is now your fixed concept of self. But now, having assumed that I am what I desire to be, I cannot continue desiring what I am conscious of being. So I do not discuss it. I talk to no one concerning what I am. It is so obvious to me that I am what I want it to be, that I walk as though I were.
Yeah, I like that part. I like how he broke it
too.
down. How they closed the door, went in there with just the consciousness and the disciplined mind, and just it created.
Yep.
I like that.
Yeah.
But also to take it back to the blood thing. So I was looking at that like blood is our life force, right? In the Old Testament, they did a lot of blood sacrifices, and that's just it's not they weren't really sacrificing animal; they were sacrificing like our animal instinct, our animalistic nature, right? So I was looking at the blood like energy that was just running. That's like our energy just running. We're not creating nothing, So I like how he put it towards a womb, where it was like, okay, her blood was running from the womb; she wasn't able to create. And then her faith closed that womb up, and she was able to receive the seed and create. So I think that was dope. I love the way he breaks it down.
Yep. Bailani was teaching us how to play the game of life the whole time. The whole time it was, but we came here for a purpose, right? We came into the land of forgetfulness, and that's why the Bible reminds you, you can't really go talking about the past, because when you go trying to understand the past, you get lost in it, and you trying to say, well, why this happened? Why this happened? Why did he do it? Why this? And it's just like you find yourself being so caught up in that you miss where you are, and you're not able to create the now you want to experience. So what does the Bible tell you? He who puts his hand to the plow and looks back is not fit for the kingdom of God.
Yep.
You can't go forward by looking back.
Yep. Exactly. Reach for what's in front of you. Reaching for what's in front of me, and not looking at what's behind. I mean, if you're looking behind, how could you go anywhere? How could you possibly go anywhere if you keep looking back? But if you're reaching for what's in front of you, and then also too, reaching in front of you, it gives you joy. It gives you hope. It gives you so many things looking forward. When you start looking at the past and looking at all the stuff that we've been through, what does it put you in? It puts you in a state of, you're uneasy, you're sad. You're all those things that, why would you want to stay in that state? Why would you want to bring all that stuff up? I know I didn't have a good childhood, so I don't like to look back. I always like to look forward, because that puts me in a good space. That puts me in a happy space. If I keep looking back, I can never go forward. And that's where I want to be. I want to be moving forward. I want to reach for what's in front of me and leave what's behind me.
Exactly. The thing is, there is no past. There is no future. There's only now.
Yep.
You only have now. This is what I say. If you need to perceive your quote unquote past experiences differently, they'll confront you. And you have the power to repent, which means to perceive it differently.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to accept it. You can decide to remember it differently when you understand that this whole experience is a game. It was a game. And it might have been a mean game. It might have been a crazy trick you played on yourself, but when you recognize that, when you can take the seriousness out of it, and you understand that those who were commissioned to, be your parents or your family, they didn't know what they didn't know, and they could only give you what they knew. And and a lot of times it might have came from a place of an unloving and, traumatized way of expression, or traumatic way of expression. But then that's when you can extend grace and understanding. And you make them whole. Why? Because you're whole. And so you forgive them as you desire to be forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about recognizing, in order to see God, you got to be God. That's the only way you really going to see God, is that you have to allow yourself to be God, which means you do have to operate in love. You do have to move in power, and you do have to have peace that surpasses all understanding. Thank you, Real Estate Nick.
I think that was a good point, though. Not being too serious, like not taking this too serious. I think that's the keys, like having fun in all of this, having fun in all of this. But I like how he said, closing the door to the senses. Like, my thing is not even about outsideness. It's my senses be,
Yep.
those be the things I be trying to, I'm working on. I'm a very logical person, and the senses are very logical, So,
They are, but they will keep you focused on what is, as opposed to what you desire for it to be. because the senses is a limitation placed upon us, and so we're supposed to transcend that limitation. That's the whole point, transcending that limitation.
And I'll even add the emotions, really. You know, the senses and the emotions got to be transcended, mastered.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, there we come to. Did you all have anything? I don't necessarily have to go in order, but did you all have anything else that you want to bring out regarding the third lesson?
I got John, the 5th chapter, where he
Oh,
started
yes.
talking about third dimensional and fourth dimensional focus. So I like how he said Jesus comes to Bethesda, house of 5 porches, which is probably just the 5 senses, right? About the man with the troubled water, and how he was saying, man, every time I try to go, they jump in front of me and get the healing. And that's like us not using our I am and walking in that. You know, it's either waiting for some outside thing to make it real or whatever. And I noticed that with all the chapters, he was talking about, you know, that like denying the outside world. Like, don't wait for the outside world to confirm it. Don't wait for the outside world to make it happen. This is this whole thing is an inner. I don't want to say battle, but inner process, inner journey.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah, it was talking about John picking up your bed and walking, like you said, Roy, I am. You don't need no man to pick up your bed and walk.
Right.
You don't need any help. Yep. Assume that what you already want to be, and you are it, and no man can get it before you.
Yeah.
It says I am. You need no man to pick up your bed and walk.
And I looked at the bed like you resting in that, you know, like that's like our old self. So pick that up, get off of that, and walk this out, right?
Mm-hmm. The desire.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. That was a good one too. Yep. Royal, that was a really good one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all just reminding us that it's your thoughts, it's how you think of yourself. What are you saying about the I am? You need no one's permission to do anything.
Yep.
And you don't need to do anything outside of them believing that you already are it. You know, some of us think, well, I need to go get this skill set, or I need to go borrow this money, or I need to go, you know, ask permission from this person and ask, you know, what you think? What do you think? What do you think?
Right.
Because the only one that matters is you.
Oh my goodness, yes.
We want everyone else's opinion, and nobody else's opinion matters.
Absolutely.
Yes, I am trust and confidence, the love that conquers all. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Let me see.
He says, the very moment you have an ambition or a clearly defined objective, the pool has been disturbed by the angel, right? This is what the pool of Bethesda, and he's saying it's a lame person that's saying, oh, no one's there to put me in the pool. So he's bringing it down to the consciousness, right? And so the pool is represents your disturbed desire. Whenever you have a desire, that's a disturbance because you have an unfulfillment, right? Whenever you're desiring, you're feeling unfulfilled, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are told that the first one into the disturbed pool is always healed. Then he tells you about his closest companions being his daughter and his wife, and he always referenced them as you are. That there's only one person in this world with whom I can use the first person present, and that is self. I am. Can be said only of myself. It cannot be said of another. Therefore, when I am conscious of some desire that I want to be, but seemingly am not, the pool being disturbed, who can get me into that pool before me? I alone possess the power of the first person. I am that which I want to be. Except I believe I am what I want to be, I remain as I formerly was and die in that limitation. And how do you convince yourself that you are that which you desire to be? You got to talk to yourself. You got to talk to yourself and give your attention to that desire until what? It becomes firmly implanted in you, impressed upon the subconscious. That's why it's so important how you go to sleep. Go to sleep in the state of the wish fulfilled. Go to sleep knowing that you are that person, and talk to yourself. Keep telling yourself, yes, I am that. Yes, I am that. And then you'll know that you are impressed because when you don't really think about it much, you don't have to convince yourself anymore. You're just walking with confidence, as D. Rich said. You're walking in quiet confidence. That's how you know that you have become that person. But you want to keep doing it until what? You convince you of it. You got to convince yourself of it.
And then it's the Sabbath. That's what I like how he broke down the Sabbath. Like that's pretty much after you convince yourself, I guess. No more work. Like don't they say don't work on the Sabbath. So it's like he said, mystical sense of stillness, unconcerned, not anxious, not looking for results, no working to make it so, not concerned with opinions of others, walk in the knowing, not raising a finger to make it so. You are in Sabbath. Like I think that is so like
That is powerful. Be
right.
still.
That last part, not lifting a finger to make it so. People are like, say what now?
We feel like we gotta do the most. You know? Like, oh, I want some big things. I feel like I gotta do this and do that.
I gotta help it
part
along.
that most people find difficult to understand is that you don't have to lift a finger to make it so, right? Like we did the experiment this week, right? And people are coming back saying how they manifested money. Did they do anything to make it so? Did they say, oh, I went and worked the job, or I went and did it? They didn't do any physical thing to bring that into their experience, right? Nothing physically they did that warranted saying you deserve this. You deserve it by your sheer definition of saying, I am that. This is mine. I claim this. So it had to come into your experience.
Like in Proverbs, there was a lot of a lazy person won't eat, and you got to do the work. It came to me like that. He's not talking about putting that work in like how we think labor, right? It's the only work is all mental work, like mental, mental training.
Mental training.
Wow.
It doesn't mean that you won't have physical activity. Because okay, if you have a business, right? But you will find out your physical activity will be so minute in comparison to what you'll experience. It will be so small. Once you completely let go of how am I going to get these clients? Where they going to come from? How this going to happen? When you can completely relieve yourself of the stress of trying to figure out how to bring clients. If you can allow yourself to see that the clients are already there. If you can just allow yourself to see that the clients are already there. And it may end up being just one client that fulfills everything. You say, oh, I want to make X amount of dollars this quarter or this year. It may end up being only one client that's able to get you to that monetary goal or aim that you have.
Now that's so true. That's like even this whole culture of like chase the bag, like that whole mentality is not it. You know what I mean? And you're absolutely right. Like when I was chasing the bag, that's what I was doing. I was chasing that thing, you know, and it was running away. But as soon as I sat still, really, like as soon as I sat still, I like you know I'm still building a business, but it's way I'm like you said, very minute. You know what I mean? Like it's very minute, and it's working. It's the least amount of work I've ever done, and the most money I've been making. So it's just crazy.
Yep.
But
So
it's all
Matthew.
that.
Yep. What is it? Matthew 6:33 is the definition of the marriage of action and attraction. See, is that seek ye first the kingdom? Is that it? Matthew 6:33, seek ye first the kingdom and all of its righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. You're just supposed to seek the kingdom, then what? The things get added.
Because when you like chasing, it's like that carrot being dangled in front of you. If you keep chasing, you never get that carrot. Exactly. I don't chase, I attract. Yep, it's like that carrot being dangled in front of you. Yep.
Yep. Absolutely, Baylani. Yep.
It puts us in that want energy. That want,
Yep.
you know.
Yep. That one. Yeah, and that's what you want to move out of. The state of desire. You want to, because as Neville put it, the end of having is being. You want to be the person that has the thing, and then the thing shows up. Be the person. So what does that look like to be the person? How do you see yourself? How do the people in your world see you now that you are that person?
Yeah.
And I think it was chapter 1 or 2 where he was saying, and then let the world confirm it for you. Like, don't even speak on it. The world's gonna show you, like, oh yeah, you that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Royal. Yep.
You don't have to try to convince any. That's why I say these people that's out here that's trying to give you this trying to convince you that they are. Be like, whoa, up. Who are you trying to convince, me or yourself? Because if you are that, I'll see it easily. That evidence will be there.
Yeah. You can
But
tell
you
by
trying
their
to
fruits.
convince me, like, what's with the hard sell? Like, because it shouldn't matter what I think. It only matters what you think. Hello, by their fruits, right? It's not by their words, it's by their fruits,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
You will see it. They're not going to have to tell you anything. You're going to see it.
All right, so John 4:35, he said the disciples were saying the harvest is in 4 months. And Jesus said, lift your eyes. And I know this is always lift your eyes or look up, you know, it's always up. But he said, look to the fields, for they are white and already for harvest. Like Jesus is like, don't look for the future, it's now. You know?
It's always now. Yep. The awakened mind can see the end before the beginning, because the end and the beginning are the same to the awakened mind.
Wow. Let me write that down. Last beginning. Say that one more time, Miss Toyia. Beginning and
the
the
end and
end.
the beginning are the same to the awakened mind.
Thank you.
He knows the end before the beginning, because the end and the beginning are the same.
Thank you.
That's why we're always told what? To go to the end. See yourself as already being, because it's to them that have, it shall be given, and that in more abundance. But to them that can't see it, to them that have not, even what they think they have shall be taken away. You have to see yourself as already being it, not trying to get it. And too many of us are focused on how to get it, trying to get it. like Royal said, chasing that bag, and seeing that bag is just, it can't be caught. It's like always running away from you. It's like, can't catch me. Oh, you thought you had me? Oh, no.
And you know, that used to be such a catchy phrase too. I'm chasing the bag. And oh my goodness. if people only knew.
Here's the thing. We're not going to say that people don't get things from effort. Because people most certainly do accomplish things from much effort, right? Those people usually don't look at their lives, right? They always talk about the sacrifices they had to make, right? The long hours, the grind, the hard work. It didn't come easy. I had, they got therapists on speed dial. Like no peace in the Middle East. in their mind. No peace in the Middle East. They're just so stressed out, so overworked, so diseased in their body. So that is a way. That's a scripture. There's a way that seems right to a man, to the carnal mind, but the end of that man is destruction.
Mm-hmm. You know what's amazing about this? Because I used to be in a church. I'm no longer there. But the way we thought about things in church, I cannot believe the way you're explaining it now, how it makes so much more sense. And it feeds us more than the way we were fed. The way I was fed in church. It's on a whole different level.
Me too, Janine.
Yep, it's on a whole different level now.
Whole different level.
And like I said, I'm just thankful for, I always wanted to know what scripture meant. And I'm thankful that I came across those who understood it, because, of course, Neville's not the only one. You have many other Neville. I read Dr. Joseph Murphy. Like I said, I listened to this gentleman named Minister Drew. He imagination guru. He breaks down scripture as well. Reverend Ike, right? I'm like, hey, I remember the Bible stories so much because I used to be a Sunday school teacher. Mm-hmm. So I'm not even gonna say, like I said, when I started doing my lives, it's not like I did a deep dive into scripture. I didn't. I just read and listened to Neville Goddard and Dr. Joseph Murphy and Reverend Ike, and I'm like, oh, I remember that Bible story. It makes so much sense now, and I have read Truth, Unity, and like I said, I got the metaphysical Bible interpretation, all of that, dictionary and everything. But it's just like, once I read them and I kind of remember like a lot of the symbolism and everything, it kind of just all just made sense. And I'm like, oh, that's what it was saying the whole time. Yes. And what's so interesting when you look at it, like the pastors know, because do they work? Most pastors don't work.
They don't.
They have their congregation work for them.
Yeah.
It's set up just like a business, right? You have the CEO of the company or the business owner that has many employees, right? Business owners with many employees, do they do any of the labor? No, their workers do. Their employees do the labor. And they help establish the company, So that's how the church is. They convince you that the Lord told them that their labor was spreading the gospel. Yeah. So since they're telling the good news to all over the world, which really they just keep talking to the same 100 people in their congregation, or 10,000, whatever, and just convince you that since I'm the man of God, I have to live. You go work a regular job and bring me your 10%, and then I can do the work for God. I mean, it's a great way to live, especially those who, who have, the thousands upon thousands of people. And it wouldn't even be so. It's just that they're convincing people that they have to pay for God to do something for them. And that's just not what scripture teaches. God is not, God ain't pimping you. God ain't saying, go work for me and bring me back the 10% that I gave you and give me 10% of what I already gave you. If God gave you the job and God supplies you for, why he need your 10% if he the one gave it to you?
Right.
Now, what did Jesus?
Because they say God gave them the job, right? So why God need 10% of something he already gave you?
Will a man rob God? How you gonna rob him in them tithes and offers? Well, hey. The building fund and never got nothing.
What verse was that? You might know, Toya. I think it was in Matthew where he was like, "Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees." He said,
"Oh yeah."
Y'all don't he said, not only you don't go into yourself, you stop others from going into themselves.
Yep.
I think it was Matthew something, but
you're right.
The Bible has so many places where it tells us that. Yeah. He said, "Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees."
Man, that was their favorite scriptures. Malachi 3:8. Boy, they love to go there.
But they won't tell you Luke 17:21. The kingdom of God is within you. That's my favorite one.
So they gonna skip over that one, huh?
They get right over there. They go right at 22. Like it never happened.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find it because it's a lot of woe to you. He said that
right
100 times.
Okay, right.
Go ahead.
Oh my goodness, that is hilarious. Like now.
Okay, yeah, Matthew 23 and 23. It's I think it's a pretty long. Yes, 23, the 23rd chapter.
Oh yeah, he did a lot of woes in that. Yeah, it was like back to back. But the one I'm saying where he was like, you don't go within yourself and you don't allow others to go within themselves.
Yes, that's the 23:13. This is the English Standard Version. But woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you shut the kingdom of heaven in people's faces, for you neither enter yourselves nor allow those who would enter to go in.
Wow. Like right there, you know?
Yep.
But that's how I kind of got started. Like, before I found Ike and everybody, Reverend Ike, I was just doing Hebrew translations of a lot of words, right? So it started with repentance. So it meant change of mind, right? To transform the mind. So I was like, wow. Whole time I'm thinking repentance is like, sorry, I messed up. I'm sorry, you know? So I was like, wow. So then I started looking up what Israel meant. And then Israel meant like to wrestle with God. And then Egypt meant like bondage. Because I was like, why are the Israelites and the Egyptians? Like it's a constant thing. The Israelites are always in trouble. It's like the same story over and over again. So then I looked up Philistine. It meant the enemy. So it was just like, it started telling me a story, you know? It's like, okay, the Israelites is us wrestling with God, wrestling with that, you know, within ourselves. Then we got the enemies. We're in bondage to our old self or whatever. And then all of a sudden, Reverend Ike, Neville Goddard, all these other people started coming across to just make it more sense of it, you know?
Yep.
Was the Israelites, was it basically them having bondage within them in their mind? Because they were just going as for, like we'll say for 40, however the story goes, that the bondage was really within their mind, within themselves.
Right.
That was the bondage.
Right.
Yep. Let me grab my I'm gonna get the metaphysical interpretation of Israel. Let me be right back.
Okay.
Thank you, A-Town. I appreciate this. I mean, I would have never, looked into any of this. I never even heard of it. So thank you for, bringing this, up and bringing this to us. We appreciate it.
Look, y'all, we all here for a reason. You know, we
Yep.
manifested this thing, but I appreciate y'all.
Yes.
Same.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Thank you all.
Yeah, I'll be dropping these gems too. I'll be sitting down taking notes or just marinating. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, so Israel means contending for God, striving for God, who prevails with God, a prince with God, dominion with God, rulership with God. The idea is a development out of that of contending with and prevailing over anything, whatever. Metaphysically, the significance of the changing of Jacob's name to Israel is this: the mind controls the body through the nerves, and a great nerve, it is that sciatic, is that how you say it, sciatic,
Mm-hmm.
runs down the leg through the hollow of the thigh. The will acts directly through this nerve, and when the individual, through his mentality or understanding, which is Jacob, exercises his I am power upon the natural man in an attempt to make unity between spirit and the divine natural, there is a letting go of human will. Jacob's thigh is out of joint. A great light of understanding breaks in the struggling soul when it discovers that there is a divine natural body, and it clings to that inner life and strength and eventually brings it to the surface in perpetual vigor. This is the significance of the blessing and the new name Israel, one who has power with God and man, spiritual and material. It's much more to, but I'm just going to stop there.
That's good. Hey, does that have like the numbers? Because I was looking at like 12. Remember how they had, so the lady was bleeding for 12 years and the girl was 12 years old. I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
I don't know if
12.
they give the number. Let me see if they give the number. If he
I
does.
did the Truth Unity version of it, and it said spiritual fulfillment for number 12.
Oh, okay. Okay. Spiritual fulfillment.
I
Okay.
can see that with even these two stories right here, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I like that. Yep.
Cool book right there. What is it called? A Metaphysical Bible?
Yeah, Metaphysical Bible Dictionary.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah. But yeah, it's not a concordance, so it's not going to have everything. It has a lot of, but it's not. The book is like this,
Oh, big one, yeah.
but it's not exhaustive. It's not like a concordance, because a concordance, every word in the Bible is in a concordance.
But that Truth Unity is pretty good
Yeah,
too.
that's who made this book. That's who wrote the book. Charles Fillmore, Truth
Okay.
Unity. Yep, because you see unity on the front.
Okay.
Name
That makes
right there. He has a couple, because I also have a metaphysical Bible that he did. I have that on Kindle. I wonder that one may have, because that one isn't as detailed as this one is, and it has way more words in it. Here it is, the Metaphysical Bible. This one is called the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary Revealing Word.
revealing word.
Let's see if he has 12 in here. But yeah, y'all can continue. Did y'all have anything else regarding
I like how he did the third dimension and fourth dimension with the Sumerian woman. So he said the Sumerian woman's our third dimension self, telling you what you want to be and what reason says you are. He said, but Jesus is our fourth dimension of self. If you dare assume you are already that, you will become it. And then he said back to the third dimensional, you don't have, when she was telling him, you don't have a bucket, a rope, and the well is deep. How could you reach the depth of that state without the means to that end? So that's like our senses telling us, like, you can't do that. No. And then the fourth dimensional, Jesus comes back. If you only knew who asked you to drink, you would ask of him, If you only knew who in yourself is urging upon you that the embodiment of the state you seek, you would kill your little sight and let him do it. I really like that.
Let him do it.
Right.
That's the part we struggle with. Letting him do it. We like, man, he
I got
taking
you.
too long. What's going on? It ain't happening the way I want it to happen. Like we get to complaining, murmuring like the children of Israel in the desert, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, we could have just stayed slaves. They would rather be slaves than trust, than have faith. They would rather be slaves to the senses, to the old state, than to allow the power within to lead and guide. We rather let the senses guide us. Okay, so I found 12. I did find
nice.
it. He says it's pretty lengthy, but he says metaphysically, 12 always refers to spiritual fulfillment. And Elijah took 12 stones according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Jacob. With the stones he built an altar in the name of Jehovah. The 12 stones represent the 12 most important nerve centers in the body. All material things represent spiritual realities. Before we can realize unfettered power, we must establish permanent resolutions of purity and covenants of conformity with the higher law of obedience. Elijah repaired the altar of Jehovah that had been thrown down. Obedience seems a simple matter, but the 12 fundamental faculties enter into its perfect expression. Elijah took 12 stones and fitted them together to form the altar, each stone representing one of the sons of Jacob, who won the name Israel in recognition of his perseverance toward perfection.
Okay, yeah, I think that's what Truth Unity was saying.
Yeah, because he is Truth Unity. Charles Fillmore, he founded Truth Unity.
That makes sense.
The one that wrote that did the work to come up with the metaphysical Bibles.
Because you can see in the Bible, like a lot of these numbers are repetitive, right? Like 40 days, 40 years, 40.
Yeah, but it's not like we think of 40, right? The numbers represent something spiritually, something inwardly. It's always about a psychological truth, right? Yeah. It's never, when you say 3 days and 3 nights, it's not talking about 72 hours like we think.
Time.
That's not.
Or 5 kings. That's another 5 cents.
They're like, oh, he was in the tomb 3 days and 3 nights. No, boo-boo. That was not 72 hours. That's not talking about, because it can never be talking about time if we say time doesn't exist and it's a construct and it's a later construct, right? So it clearly cannot be talking about, how we conceptualize time. The fact that we've changed the way we conceptualize time over time, right? You got the Gregorian calendar, you have the Ethiopian calendar, you have all these different calendars, right?
Right. Ethiopia is 13 months,
Right.
It don't even make sense.
So, trying to see if he had the number 3 in here. But no, I don't see that. He doesn't have. I don't see 3. He does have time, though. Interesting. The limitation of man's consciousness of space. That's how he sees it.
Yeah, it's just for us to determine how we move about space, really.
Yep.
But I noticed the 5s have always been, for the most part, from what I've seen, was 5 senses. Even right here where he said the 5 husbands, he was telling her, like, you had 5 husbands already.
Right. But it also 5, I forgot what it, because somebody, I at one time knew what all the numbers meant, 1 through 9. I didn't write it down. So 5, yes, in scripture it's talking about the 5 senses, but remember, what's his name? David had 5 stones, right? And only used 1 to
hit the
slay
Philistine.
Goliath, right? And then you have the 5 foolish versions and what the 5 wise versions.
So that's like our elevated 5 senses, though, right?
Right. So what it means metaphysically when it's been transformed, that's what we care about. Like 3 represents a new beginning. 7 is completion or perfection, where 12 is also will be considered completion but fulfillment.
Right.
Whereas 7 represents wholeness and completion, like there's nothing left to be done, as in the Sabbath, the day of rest. You rested because God completed all things. There's nothing else to do but rest in the knowing, right?
Mhm.
Because everything is already completed. Yeah.
So is time an enemy of God?
There are no enemies. Who's your enemy?
Or anti-God or something?
Like I said, time is a construct. It's something we made up, just like we made up just about everything in this world. Everything here is a creation of the mind, other than the universal laws. Like energy is not a creation of the mind, right? Energy is. That's not a creation. It can never be created or destroyed. It just is, right? That's what God is. That's what love is. That's not a creation. But everything we physically see is a creation. That means it's temporary. It's only for the experience.
Hey, so I kind of go ahead.
I was just gonna ask if you were saying that time is an enemy if we obsess over it, like it's our doing. Say for instance, not being patient and waiting, just doing nothing. Are you saying that is when it can become a detriment? Is that what
Are you
you're
asking me or are you asking
I'm asking you that because I think that I understand A-Town's question. So
well, it can be an enemy, but it is a limitation.
okay, absolutely, and it's an enemy because we make it such. Is that okay?
Yep. Says the only power in time is what man imparts to it, right? So if you gave it no power, it could not be your enemy. It only becomes your enemy because you give power to it. Because you don't see all this now. You like what Jesus said to the disciples. You say it's 4 months to the harvest. I tell you, look again. The harvest is now. But you think there's a time element when all is now. And if you can just operate in the knowing of now, you no longer become a prisoner to the concept of time. So I'm going to read what he said in the metaphysical. So I think he may be able to explain it better than I am. The limitation of man's consciousness, the time is the limitation of man's consciousness of space. A day is a measure of time in the realm of effects. A sidereal day is that period in which the earth rotates once on its axis. Man divided that period into seconds, minutes, hours, and thus invented time. Time is the measure that man gives to passing events. The only power in time is what man imparts to it. When man gets into the understanding of the absolute, he takes his freedom from all bondage of time and declares that time shall no more enter into the substance of his mind or body or affairs.
Okay.
Because we could talk about it to get are we understanding what he's saying about time being the limitation and you being a prisoner to it?
100%.
Think that it has some type of authority over you?
I do get that part that it does not. I do get the part that it doesn't have any authority.
So time is bondage.
Yep.
Okay.
But it's also like a tool, though, right? Because it helps
Right.
us
It's a
move
bondage
around
when
space.
it's a bondage because you think it has power. You're like, oh my good, so it's like when people that want to manifest and they're like put a time element on it, right? Well, can I manifest in 24 hours? Is it going to take 3 weeks? Is it going to take 2 days? How long is it going to take? So now you're saying there's actually that is real when it's just a concept. It's something you made up. It actually has no validity of truth. It's only your concept of it, right? Because some people will be like we all get the same, quote unquote, as they say, we claim we all have the same 24 hours, right? And you could be on your shift for 8 hours. I can be on the shift for 8 hours. To me, it could feel like 2. To you, it could feel like 15, depending on what has your mind, right? Man, this day went by so fast. It's like we talk about how days seem to fly by, right? Man, what happened to March? March came and went. What? And then somebody else like, I don't know what you're talking about. March drug forever. I don't know what was happening. I don't know what was going on. Why did it just seem like these 31 days seem like it was 60 days? Because it's your perception.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I get it.
Yep. Yep. Manifestation isn't about time. It's about frequency and the energy of being that person who has it. Yep. You just have to be the person who has it. And then time, you lose the time element when you know you already are the person. You're only concerned about the time because you don't think that it's going to happen for you. So you're looking for it instead of knowing you already have it.
Yeah, definitely clicked for me.
Yes, because even at work, I've learned, even being there 8 hours, sitting at a desk, what I started doing is I started getting up and moving about more. I started going to the window, looking out of the window. Instead of taking the elevator, I took the stairs. There are windows. When you walk down, you can look out the window. So to not make it seem like I am bound by the 8 hours there to work, I'm making it now. Before, this is all me in this whole process now. I didn't do this before. Before I sat it, and I was just like, oh my goodness. Now I get up and I move about. I'm walking. I'm looking out the window. I'm taking the long route instead of taking the short route to make it for me to say, hey, I'm not bound by these 8 hours in this building and at this desk. Let me move about this building. So that's how I now create a new way of my day at work, my 8 hours at work.
Absolutely.
So I heard time referred to the bridge of incidences. I think Neville likes to speak on it like that, doesn't he?
Well, he just says that he's letting you know you don't have to worry about what happens or how it happens.
Hmm.
There will be a bridge of things that occur
Right.
that you're not going to know of until you experience it.
Hmm.
Things just happen.
Hmm.
That's it.
Okay. Okay. Mm.
Yeah, time. If we know that time is what we perceive it to be, then it really has no reality, right? Because it's based on our individualized perspective. And there is only now. Because we can talk about a Monday, a Tuesday, but do you consciousness Monday or Tuesday, infinite intelligence knows exactly when you need what you need at the time you need it. It always is, and it's never late. It just knows. It's infinite intelligence. It is the mind that established the foundation of the world. So it's founded in itself, in consciousness that knows no time. We came up with time because we want to understand how we experienced things. So we say, oh, that happened 10 years ago, or that happened 5 years ago. Oh, if I'm at L station A and I want to get to L station B, I'm in this space. How long, right? Relativity, right? The theory of relativity, right? So that's how we came up with that for us to understand I was here and now I'm there. And so I got from here to there. What was that lapse of time that took place? But it could just be I was here, now I'm there. Who said it took any time?
That part.
Right, A-Town. That part.
So I highlighted that the Samaria story, where he says, let us go back to the first part of the story. The woman of Samaria is the three-dimensional you, and Jesus is the well. And Jesus at the well is the fourth-dimensional you. The argument starts between what you want to be and what reason tells you that you are. The greater you tells you that if you would dare assume you are already what you want to be, you will become it. The lesser you, with this limited focus, tells you why you having a bucket, you having a rope, and the well is deep. How could you ever reach the depth of this state without the means to that end? You answer and say, if you only knew who asks of you to drink, you would ask of him. If you only knew what in yourself is urging upon you the embodiment of the state you now seek, you will suspend your little sight and let him do it for you. And then I'm going to skip a couple of paragraphs. Then one turns to me and tells me all that I have ever known. That's right. That's your old state turning to you, saying, or reminding you that you're remembering all of these past events, right? You're saying, all these reasons as to why the thing can't happen for you. That I go back in my mind's eye and reason tells me that all through my life, I have always accepted the limitations of my senses. I have always looked upon them as fact. Morning, noon, and night. I have borne witness to this acceptance. You have borne witness to your limitations, to the five senses. Now you have to what? Transcend the five senses and operate from the awakened mind, from the Christ mind, from the Jesus state that says, I am he. Now, unless you believe I am he, you shall die in your sins.
Ooh.
What?
Baby deep, boy. Can't he say that after that?
We just let that marinate a little.
I was like, whoo.
Right.
I like when Neville gives you, his practical story, right? He gives you two stories and tells you about when his mom, them living in Barbados, and they had chickens and everything, and the way they kept the chickens alive was through fish. But then when it was time for them to feast and have the chicken as dinner, they had to give a new diet to the chicken for 7 days. And if they forgot to allow this chicken to feast upon, or was it 3 days? Is it 3 days?
I think it was 3 days.
3 days. And if they forgot to give the chicken the diet, the corn-fed diet, the whole town would know they were having this chicken, this chicken that was fed fish for dinner. So they couldn't even eat it because it was like not tantalizing at all. And so reminding us that that's what we have to do when we're wanting to feast upon our new state. We have to feed it a new diet. We cannot continue to keep talking about the old state and think that we're going to experience the new. You have to go on a mental diet. You have to feast upon the new state. And you have to what? Fast, which means to starve the old state.
Yeah, I like that. He said we become excuse me, what is mentally fed upon us more than what we physically do. And then I was trying to find that verse. I think it was Matthew 5:11. He said this, when Jesus was telling them, it's not what goes in your mouth that defiles a man, but what comes out his mouth. Even if we talking to ourselves or out loud or whatever, but don't worry about what you're putting in your mouth. Well, how you talking to yourself, right?
That's it. That's
Power of
it.
life and death in that tongue.
Right.
Yep. And what did he say? That he was celibate, he was a vegetarian,
Vegetarian,
a
right.
vegan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when he came to this knowledge of truth, he said, Abdullah told him, man, Neville, you good, but you're going to be good for nothing. You got all these quibbles. You ain't going to do this. You're not going to do that. You're not going to enjoy this. You're not going to enjoy that. When he finally came to an understanding of this truth, he went back to smoking, to drinking, to eating, everything. He just like, he understood it wasn't what he was putting in his body, it's what he was believing about his body is what he would experience.
And I think, I don't know about y'all, but I had a moment like that, you know, where it's like, you feel like once I woke up to this, I just felt like I had to do so much. Like, okay, I got to do this, I got to do that. Now, I didn't, you know what I mean? And it's not even about that. Like, we need to have fun in this and all that. All you doing is jumping from one matrix to another, pretty much. Like, you know, you're just going from one control thing to another when it's not supposed to be there. We need to enjoy this, have fun in this, you know?
So true, Royal.
And he said, and like back to your point, when they was feeding the what was it? They were ducks. I think they were ducks. When they was feeding the ducks, he was like,
Oh yeah, duck. Sorry.
we couldn't give it. He said we can't be feeding them corn in the morning. There's some fish for lunch, and then something else for dinner. It had to be consistent. And that's another thing. Like, we can't be doing our great meditations when we wake up in the morning, and then boop, by lunchtime we jump back to old self. You know, it's like it got to be all day. Meditate on these things.
Yep.
And then he went to Philippians 4:8. He said, whatsoever things are true, honest, just, pure, good report, if there be any virtue and any praise, think of these things. And we just want to stay there all day.
Absolutely.
Yep, absolutely.
And I think that's for me because so much time I validate myself on bringing awareness to whoever I'm in front of, right? I got to be able to matriculate. I got to be able to pinpoint their, what's going on in order to read them. But it wasn't of a positive, that what you just quoted, it wasn't of that particular frame of thought. But if like I know of you from certain areas, you got to be able to judge accordingly from what you see. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you got to look differently now, now that you're not in that particular lane. Now that you're God, you got to look at him as, you know what I'm saying, as such.
But it's okay to still be sharp, still keep you sharp, You're a smart God.
You got to be. Yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
You said you got to be sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah, discernment is key. Discernment and love, right? It's just all about we too busy trying to judge a thing instead of trying to be a thing. And you have to decide how you gonna live this life. In judgment, are you gonna judge righteous judgment, which is in love? Are you gonna judge from a place of fear and limitation and thinking that you have to protect yourself against something? What is God protecting itself from? Like, that's what we have to ask ourselves. I'm God. What am I? What would God do in this instant? Being God, being all powerful, being all knowing, abounding in all things, no limitations, only sees itself, eyes too pure to behold iniquity. To them that are pure, all things are pure. And is that how I'm living this life?
Right.
Love fulfills all things. Love, what is the only transforming power? That's what fulfills the law. Love. So that's how you know. That's being God, being love. God is love. So am I being love in this moment? What would love do in this moment? That's a revelation.
Come on.
That's what we're elevating to. That's what we're transcending, right? Because in order to see love, you got to be it.
Absolutely.
You got to be the change that you want to see in the world. In order to see it, you must be it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely had to latch onto that, especially when you kind of transition to being a coach, because when you're a mentor or a leadership roles, you have to kind of diagnose people, or you got to kind of see their limitations or whatever. But in reality, you got to see them as all the way good, or whatever their godness is. And due to having the right mentorship or having that right relationship with them, you're talking to their higher self. So that's really dope.
Yeah. Yep. Seeing people as already the version that they desire to be. Not trying to figure out how they're supposed to get there. That's not our work. Too many of us are trying to tell people what they should do. That's not your journey. You don't get to tell somebody what they should do.
I be fussing in my
See
head.
them as they desire to be.
I be arguing in my head.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah. And I know, that's the part of us that's a new thing that a lot of us haven't been able to like really let go of. The desire to point the finger and say, you should be doing this in any capacity, whether you're a parent, whether you're a co-worker, whether you're a business partner, whether you are a mentor. It's always this desire to tell someone what they should be doing, as opposed to the God in you is leading you, the God in them is leading them.
Absolutely. And I definitely have been showing myself a lot more grace since I found this community. I do argue with myself and I have to get on myself, but most of the time I use your words and I say I know that we're used to thinking a certain way, but we no longer think that way. You know what I mean? And that works out great as well. It just depends on, I guess, the day I'm having overall. So
Yeah.
I think for me, once I came into like this understanding, I was just trying to preach it to everybody. Like, I was like, look, this God's in you, everything, you know what I mean? And just trying to give it to everybody. But it's like you said, everybody's on their own journey, and that's not for me to do. I just need to see them at their best and just, you got this. That's why, I'll be telling my sister that, because she's always like, oh, I feel bad for this person or this person. I'm like, nah, they on their journey. Like,
Yeah. I mean, it's not that you're not supposed to share. You are supposed to go out into the world, right? Jerusalem, and then to the different, cities, but those are different states of being, right? We are supposed to preach the gospel, the good news. We're supposed to tell people about it, not try to change them. We didn't come here to be saviors. You can't save nobody.
Right.
You can only change yourself and then see your world reflect that back to you. We be trying to be people's saviors. Oh, they need help. Oh, they poor. Oh, they this. Oh, they that. Oh, they need. People don't need to be saved. They need to be awakened. That's it.
It
They
remind me
need
of
to
when
be
Jesus.
awakened.
It remind me of like when Jesus used to. He sent his disciples to like different towns, and he was like, "Go to these people's houses. You know, if they let you in, stay." He said, "If they don't, turn around, leave, and don't ever turn around." You know, so it's kind of like that. Like that's how I be looking at it.
Yep.
Like if somebody's open to it, let's go. But
Yep.
I'm not about to press this on you.
Yep, that's it. You can't beat nobody over the head. Yeah, we think we're supposed to convince people, but you can't convince people of something they're not ready to hear. It just becomes what? An argument, a disagreement.
Yeah.
And it's not edifying to the hearers. The onlookers just gonna see two people that disagree. Nobody's getting fed spiritually. Nobody's getting the truth because you just got two people seeing their own rightness, right? Because you're both right.
All right.
That's why sometimes some lives I go on, they are arguing. I say, let me exit.
Hey, look, I jumped in a couple of those. I was like, nah, this ain't it.
No, right.
This ain't it. Like it's not even a real conversation. Like they looking at debate. There's nothing you can say that's you know.
They don't want to hear it.
They don't want to hear it. They like, let me find out where you messed up at, and I'm about to fry you.
Yeah, they be going in.
Sometimes you just have to exit. It was a good start. Let me have a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. But I went through that too when I first got out. I was saying like, oh no, that you don't understand the Bible saying this, the Bible saying that, the Bible doing this. I'm like, then you finally come to the realization you can't force feed nobody. You cannot force feed this truth. What the scripture say, to them that can hear. Right? To them that can hear. Right? Then you tell them what the Spirit is saying to the church. If you're not ready to hear, if you don't have eyes to hear eyes to see and ears to hear, then it's just gonna fall on, as they say, deaf ears.
Yeah.
I be so grateful now. I be just knowing the little bit I know. Can't even judge.
That's why I say you got to be the light. Let your light so shine that men will what? See your good works, will see your deeds, will see your fruit, right? They will see your fruit, your good works, and glorify the God. They're going to be like, wait, hold up. Wait a minute. Why are you so peaceful? Why are you so happy? Why are you so joyful? What's going on? You know, the world is going to hell in the handbasket, and you seem not to be moved. What is happening? What is going on? When they ready, they going to find you. All right, say, if I be lifted up, I will draw all men unto me. The right people gonna find you that's ready to hear this, that who you're supposed to, bring into this understanding, who you're supposed to shed the light of understanding to. And they're gonna be so receptive. They're just gonna eat it up. They're gonna be like, yep, this is what I've been looking for. This, you got the answers to my questions. I knew it, man. I knew it. Yep.
So what do you do in the meantime when you have people that are close to you and they call you for advice and you give it to them and it just lands on dead ears? So with that being said, how do you gently kind of remove yourself from being the person that they come and just spill all of their things on? I mean, of course, I can see them as I want them to be. And I've had situations where they've shown me who I want them to be. and I'm very proud of them. But in other situations, it's like they're just not getting it. And I don't want to like say, I don't want to talk to you, or, I'm trying to do it in a loving way, but I really don't want to keep reiterating the same things because that could possibly affect my mood and emotion, if you understand what I'm saying. So what's a good way? What's what's one of the ways you've dealt with someone coming and, putting things on you? They're venting, they're angry, they're not following any of the advice you're giving them. How do you deal with that?
It's like Cece said, it's your assumptions about it. So the conversation happens way before you have the conversation. It's your mental activity. So what are you thinking about them before they even come into your experience? Are you assuming that the conversation is going to be a certain way? Because however you're assuming the conversation will be is how the conversation will be. You can have the conversation in your mind before you ever have it physically, right? So you can always say, this person, whenever I speak to them, they're receptive, they're understanding, they're telling me something wonderful, they're telling me some good news, they're telling me how they applied what I told them. Every time I talk to them, man, it's like a breath of fresh air. Like, oh my goodness, I could really see the change in them.
That would explain why sometimes I get that and other times I don't. So I'll have to pay more attention to that. Yep.
Yep, it really is our reality. It really is. We're the thinkers in our own reality, and it's our thoughts about it that we're manifesting, that we're experiencing. It really is. And it's every situation. It's never this law is applicable to all areas. Every interaction you have, and it's really about your judgment about it, right? It's how you're judging it. Yep, it's all you. Hey, Aaron, what's up? Yep, it's all how you see it. So now you just have to decide to see it differently. See it how you want it to be.
And it's to take a break from them while I'm revising, right?
Hey, it's your world. There's no wrong or right. Do what's best for you. But remember, no man comes to you unless the Father within you draws him. They ain't there by accident. You called them forth. You said, come hither with your consciousness, with your assumptions, with your beliefs. Right. There's no them. Say that, Aaron. There is no them. It's you. You drawing you to you. You have to ask yourself, when someone is behaving in a way that you don't agree, you have to ask yourself, why am I behaving this way? Because remember, everyone is a mirror. They're just playing a role based on your assumptions about life.
Oh, so I say, why am I behaving this way? Oh, okay.
Yep. And you'll start to see that either the more conversations you have with them, they're completely different, or you'll have less conversations with them. Because you're completely different.
Ooh.
I like that.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh. But yeah, it's the 8:00 hour, guys. This was really good. We covered most of this.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I have a last thought.
Go ahead.
My last thought is, wherever you want to be, there you are. Live in as though you are, and there shall you be.
Wow.
All right, Janine. All right. That's it. That was a lovely closure. A lovely closure. I have nothing to add to that. That was it.
Thank you
That was it.
all. Thank
All
you.
right,
Thank
y'all
you.
have a great night. That was good.
Thank you, everyone, and
Okay,
thanks
so-
for the gifts. I appreciate it.
So are we finished with 3, or did we want to continue 3 next week?
Um,
I got a couple little things we can add. We can start with just a little bit.
Okay, cool. But we'll finish 3
We'll
up,
call
and
it
then
4
we'll go
though.
into 4.
Yeah.
okay, sounds good. Sounds like a
All
winner.
right. Thank
All right,
you
y'all be
guys
safe.
so much. Appreciate you. You all have a wonderful, wonderful night. Until next time.
You as well.
Thank you. You as well. Take care, everyone.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.